So you're going to Disney World with your young kids and you're wondering if you should bring your stroller with you, if you should rent a stroller there. What are the best options for you and your family? And we are going to get into all of that in this video. But before we do, I did just want to introduce myself in case you're new here. My name is Allison, and here at my channel, I like to make all different types of Disney World content, including vlogs from our own family vacation. So if that is content that you enjoy seeing, definitely hit that red subscribe button, join in the fun, and let's get into the video. So in this first scenario, we're going to talk about those of you who have young kids, you use your stroller at home, and you're wondering if you should bring your stroller with you or if you should rent a stroller in Disney World. Some of you don't even know that you are able to rent from a third-party stroller company instead of getting the strollers in the Disney World parks. So that is always an option for you. And one of the ways to know which scenario fits best for you is to first take measurements of your stroller, go onto the Disney World website and check out what the Disney World stroller dimensions that are permitted into the parks, what they are, because your stroller might be just too big, especially if you have one of those double strollers or anything like that. You're going to want to check the dimensions on your stroller to make sure that yours fits in those dimensions. Now, before we get into this, I did just want to mention that stroller wagons are not permitted in Disney World. No type of wagon is permitted in Disney World unless you have a medical reason for using a wagon and can go through that with Disney. But you can't just bring your push wagon into the parks. It has to be a stroller. So if you go ahead and do those measurements and come to find out that your stroller is not going to be permitted in the parks, or you only use a stroller wagon, what are your options? What can you do? So like I mentioned, you can rent a stroller from a third-party stroller company. I'm going to list some of them down below in the comments. I don't have any affiliation with any of them. I'm just putting them in just to give you guys some ideas, to do some research on pricing and all that, and the type of strollers that they offer. But they usually have like a jogging stroller. A lot of times they have like city minis. They do have double strollers. And I did want to mention that specifically having a double stroller, because you might be in a situation where at home you have a single stroller for your younger child, but your older child doesn't have a stroller, but they're still young enough where they will probably need one in Disney World. So you can always leave your stroller at home and rent a double stroller from one of these companies. Or if you like to have your stroller in the airports and around the resorts and stuff, bring your single stroller for your younger kid during times when your older one will be able to walk, but have that rental available for when you are going to be in the parks all day so that you have that double stroller with you. So I do highly recommend this situation to rent a stroller from a third party instead of getting the Disney World strollers, even though they do offer a double, because the Disney World strollers are made of hard plastic. The seats don't recline. There's nowhere for them to put their heads. So for the young kids, it really will make a world of a difference to get those more comfortable strollers from the stroller rental companies so they can take stroller naps or be a little bit more comfortable, have, maybe like a tray even, or some organization type things that you're not going to find on the Disney strollers. You're not going to find those, under stroller little bags or organization. They do have like kind of cup holders, but the regular strollers that you can rent from these third-party sites are definitely going to be more comfortable and more spacious for you and your kids to put your stuff in. Now, as far as those Disney World rental strollers that you can get in the park, I do actually recommend getting those for older kids, ones that aren't going to take a nap, really just need to rest their feet. They're too big for those regular strollers, but they really just aren't ready to walk through the parks. And you know what? Get your kid the stroller. Get your kid the stroller. It's not going to hurt anything. It's your vacation. Do you really want to hear your kid complaining and whining that they're tired and they don't want to walk anymore? Just get the stroller. Get the stroller, put them in it. You have space for your stuff now. use the stroller and push them around. That is my PSA. I am 100% pro stroller for kids, any age really. I'm going to be so upset when I can't use a stroller anymore to put all my stuff in. Where am I going to put my stuff? But anyway, get the stroller for your kid. Another reason why it's beneficial to bring your stroller or rent from an outside company and not get those hard plastic strollers from the parks is that you can't leave the park with the stroller, with that plastic stroller. So if you do have a kid who winds up somehow falling asleep in those hard strollers, I do see them sometimes, passed out in the stroller, you would have to get them up out of the stroller, get all of your belongings out of that stroller, return it, and then get onto your transportation with a sleeping kid and all your stuff. So that makes it very difficult when you have young kids. When you have an older kid who's not going to be sleeping, or if they do wind up falling asleep, you can wake them up and, move along. But if you do have a young kid, that is another con to getting those strollers as opposed to the other ones. Now, some of you may be thinking that you might want to, if you have like a young baby or even a small toddler, that you, instead of getting a stroller, you're going to baby wear them, right? You're going to wear them in a carrier. While this is great, there are some cons to doing this, especially down in Disney World. Number one is that both of you can get very overheated. All that walking around, it can get really hot and humid. That's not always the best situation to be using a carrier. And the other reason is because if it rains, it's a lot easier to have your baby or toddler in a stroller with a rain cover over that stroller. Yes, you could use an umbrella to cover your baby, but it's just going to be easier for everybody to have them in their own space with a rain cover over them. Now, you could always bring your carrier and the stroller and, park your stroller in the stroller parking and then use your carrier to walk around a little bit. You can always do that, of course. Wear it on the rides if you have a little baby. But I do highly recommend getting the stroller, just to put your stuff in too. If you have a baby, you're going to have a diaper bag and, all this stuff with you. It just makes so much more sense to have the stroller to be able to put your stuff in it. Now, if you're in a situation where you already have a stroller at home, it meets the dimensions of Disney, and you're wondering if you should bring this stroller or just rent one when you get down there. Now, everybody has different opinions on this, but I always suggest and I always like having my own stroller. I like to have it in the airport. I like to have it all the time. And it's also one that you and your child are comfortable with and familiar with. Some kids, they might not like a new stroller. It might not be as comfortable, and you don't know if it's as comfortable or usable or easy to push as yours. You're used to your stroller, and that's what you and your kid are going to be most comfortable with. So I always recommend bringing your own stroller if it meets the Disney World dimensions. Another reason to bring your own stroller versus renting one is that if you have a lot of stroller gear, which I do, and I know a lot of people do, whether it's organization bags or, whatever it is, that it's going to fit on your stroller. If you rent one and then you have to bring all of those storage bags with you, you might not be able to get it on this rental stroller as well as your own stroller. So it's just another reason to just bring your own stroller with you. Now, if you're in the market for a new stroller, maybe you need a new stroller for your toddler or whatever, I highly recommend getting a travel stroller, one of those very lightweight, folds down easy. It just makes things so much easier for the airport and also for Disney transportation. Get on the bus. Some of the boats, you do need to fold your stroller down. The monorail, you'll be able to push it on. The Skyliner, however, you will be able to push your stroller on if it's a single or if it's the type of double stroller where they're sitting front and back. The two side-by-side double strollers will not fit onto the Skyliner. So if you're staying at a Skyliner resort and you have two kids that need a stroller, it's highly recommended to get one of those strollers with the front and back. So that might be another reason for you to rent one, as opposed if you have one at home that is the two side-by-side double strollers, you might want to rent one, either two singles or one of the front and backs. Now, there are some pros to getting two single strollers as opposed to a double stroller. You know, this could be that two parents want to take kids to different areas. One kid is sleeping and the other one wants to go do something else. You can very easily separate, one parent has this, or, whoever is traveling with you, if you are able to have two people take care of one stroller. Obviously, if you're by yourself, having that double stroller is the best scenario. But if you have two grown-ups in your party, you can break off and go separate ways with the two single strollers. Now, some strollers out there do have ones that sometimes they connect and they can also disconnect. So that would be very interesting if you're in the market. I don't recommend going and getting one, if you don't need to. But, they do make those kinds of strollers now. And they also make the company Zoe, which I actually have the Zoe Traveler, which I highly, highly recommend. It's a travel stroller. I'm going to link my review down below on that stroller. I also have a stroller organization video that I'll link down there as well. But this company has double, triple, and quad strollers that I do believe fit in the dimension of Disney World. So if you have multiple young kids that need a stroller, I highly recommend checking this company out. So as you can see, I am 100% pro stroller. Bring the stroller, get your kid the stroller, use your stroller while you still can to be able to put all your stuff on it. It makes it so much easier to get around the park, seriously. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you out. And until next time.